Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin.
And today we're talking about our objectively excellent subjective scoring rubric and how we evaluate and score pours.
Welcome to the channel, bringing real-world content to the real-world whiskey consumer.
Today we're talking about our scoring system and kind of filling you guys in a little bit on what that looks like, why we do it. The whole thing is totally tongue-in-cheek. We believe that whiskey is to be enjoyed and shared with the people that you care about, and scoring it isn't really important, but we do have a channel and we are having kind of fun with a little tongue-in-cheek, objectively excellent subjective scoring rubric, just to show that it is subjective, as all things taste related are. So what we like may not be what you like. What you like may not be what we like.
Yeah. Well, but what I like isn't usually what he likes.
Yeah, our palates tend to differ. Yeah. So it's very interesting to put some quantification. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Okay. To put some quantification around like some consistency between pours.
Yeah.
And the way that we do that, we'll explain all that in a minute. But before we get into that, Erin, how are you doing? And what are you drinking?
I am doing well, and I'm drinking some Wild Turkey 101.
Yeah. Wild Turkey 101 is a favorite in this house.
Yeah.
And we're actually, our official scoring is done completely double blind. We don't even know what's in the glass, and they're typically in our head-to-heads that we release weekly. But you guys are going to get to see us do a score on Wild Turkey 101 in real time to demonstrate our scoring system. So I am also drinking Wild Turkey 101.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Yeah?
I'm doing well. Yeah.
What you got going on these days?
We had a little bit of outing with some of your former coworkers to celebrate a new job today.
I got a new job.
And there was some day drinking involved and then some napping after that.
Yes.
And
which is a perfect weekend day for me.
Yeah. And now we're back at it.
Yep.
And we're filming some videos. So this one is one that we've been needing to do, and I'm really looking forward to walking people through it because this is something that we worked with together. And shout out to friends of the channel, Scott Kading, Jason Ladd, and Nathan Souza for helping us with this scoring system. Local Nashville guys, fellow bourbon nerds. Well, Scott's not local, but he's in town enough. And yeah, we had some help on this thing to try to make it as approachable and understandable as possible. We want it to be common sense.
Yeah.
Just everything is predicated on a thumbs up, thumbs down system. If we don't like it, thumbs down in that category. If it's just okay, we could take it or leave it. We've had better. We could swap out something else. Just okay.
Yep.
If we like it, thumbs up. If we love it, 2 thumbs up.
You get 2 thumbs up in my book.
Nonetheless, that's the system, and it's super easy to understand because when you drink something, you know if you like it or if you love it or if it's just okay, you could take it or leave it, or if you really don't like it. Like, you go with your gut reaction, and maybe you need to go back to it a few times to get that, but it's easy to know where you land on a glass, especially if you're tasting it completely blind and you don't know what's in your glass, that's why it's our official scoring. So the way we score is, it just so happens to be 5 categories that we score on. 3 are relative to taste. That's the nose, the flavor profile, and the experience on the palate. If you're new to whiskey, or if you're watching YouTube whiskey reviews or channels, then you've probably seen other channels or other outlets rate things on nose, palate, and finish. That's kind of the 3 standard categories for taste for pro tasters, but we're not pro tasters. No. We're regular people, probably just like you, and we hang out with friends. None of them are picking up like the nuanced whiskey notes either. We're just hanging out, we're having a good time, we're enjoying whiskey together. So that's not how we rate things. Although I do kind of line up with those on our 3 categories. I tend to like really high proof stuff that has a lot more complexity going on. You tend to like more low proof stuff.
Or not as sweet stuff. I like some high proof stuff.
You do.
But I don't love super sweet stuff.
Yeah. And that's a difference that magnifies itself in our flavor scores. If something's really sweet, I'm probably going to say I love it. If something is really sweet, Erin might just say she likes it and not love it. Or she may even say it's just okay if it's too sweet. Whereas if something is, more complicated or super high proof, I might give it 2 thumbs up for the experience because there's a lot going on and there's a long finish. Whereas Erin may give it points down because it might be too hot or it might be out of balance for her. So
even the experience is a subjective thing.
Yeah.
Because Josh likes to be taken on a ride for his experience. Yeah. I like an experience that is low key and chill.
Yeah.
So even experience
kind of matches our personalities a little bit. You're low key and chill, and I'm a little bit more wound up.
A little bit, but you're still good.
The thing about our scoring is that it meets you where you're at. If you like a smooth pour, then you're going to rate a smooth pour 2 thumbs up on the experience. I would rate it thumbs down because it's just not enough going on in the glass for me.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point. Nose, do you like the way it smells or not? Flavor profile, do you like the flavors? I like sweet stuff. I'm going to rate it high. If it's too sweet, Erin might rank it a little bit lower. Experience on the palate. I like big proof and complexity. Erin likes something that's a little bit more laid back. We each score on that on the thumbs up system.
Yeah.
Super simple on taste. We try to do that blind. And then the other part of the equation for our scoring system is the retail score and the consumer score. And that's the retail side of the equation, like the retail store itself, the price and the availability. So we weigh those 2 things together. And let's be honest, the retail score is influenced by your taste. If something tastes really good, you're going to be willing to pay more for it. So you've got to take that into account. Sometimes,
depending on the price.
But let's say you really, really love something and it's $50 and you don't normally like to spend $50 on a bottle of whiskey, but you really like the flavor of something, then you're more inclined to say that $50 is worth it. But if I taste something that's $50 and I don't like the taste of it, I'm going to say that it doesn't have that good of a retail score because I don't like the taste of it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to pay $50 for something I don't like the taste of.
So they all play into each other.
It all plays into each other. And then the 5th category is the consumer score, which is whether we'd buy it again or not. Again, heavily influenced by the tasting portion. So Erin likes a easier sipping experience, and so she rates that easier sipping experience higher, and that influences whether she'd buy something again or not. I tend to almost directly tie my consumer score to my flavor score. If I really like the flavors, even though I like big proof and I like more complexity, I'm way more inclined to buy something again, even if it lacks those things, if the flavors are good. Because if the flavors are right for me, then I'm going to want to buy it again once I run out.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm more on the experience. If the experience is good and the price is right, I'm more likely to buy it again.
The whole point of this is just to have fun and to have a way to kind of quantify pours over time and compare them. So we know what we like and what we don't. If you're a Patreon, then you might have access to The Well, where we have our whole database of everything that we've tasted blind. But that's the explanation. Let's do a real-time scoring, typically done blind, but let's do a real-time scoring of Wild Turkey 101. On the nose, all we're doing here, we might say notes that we get, but the whole point is, do we like it or not?
Yeah.
So on the nose.
Does it smell good? Smells like whiskey.
Smells good.
Smells good, yeah.
It's classic. Wild Turkey 101 is a staple bourbon, and that is why we used it for this video, because it is just a classic.
And I feel like the thumbs up system for someone like me who is not as into the nerdiness of the hobby, we'll say, like it makes it easy for me to be like, because I don't have to feel the pressure to be like, oh, I smell oak and char, and because I don't like I smell things like Ked's shoe rubber or Christmas trees or
earthiness
or dirt. Like I smell random weird things because that's what I know. So I like that I can just say I give it a thumbs up, and I don't have to say a lot of other things. And but if I wanted to, I could. If I got something, like I could, and that could influence my thumbs.
Yeah. And our overall goal with this whole system is for it to meet you where you're at and to be relatable.
Yeah.
There's plenty of channels out there. There's plenty of outlets out there that give detailed tasting notes, and they're really, really good at that. We just like to enjoy it. Yeah. So on the nose, this is very enjoyable. It's not blowing me away. I can sit here and tell you that I smell caramel and I smell a little bit of the turkey funk that people talk about, and I do, but it doesn't really matter if I smell that. Do I like it or not?
Yeah.
And to me, I do like it. It's not blowing me away. It's not jumping out of the glass. There's not a ton of complexity there. So for our scoring system, I like the nose. Thumbs up.
Same. I like it. Thumbs up.
Yeah. It's not a take it or leave it.
Yeah.
But I don't love it either. It's just really good. Enjoy it. So thumbs up on the nose for both of us.
Yep.
On the palate.
Let's try it.
For flavor.
I mean, it's got a classic, what you think bourbon whiskey should taste like.
It tastes like what bourbon should taste like. Yeah. I mean, Wild Turkey's known for having that strong cinnamon on the mid palate, which some people...
I can get that.
Some people kind of get that mixed up and think it drinks really hot, and maybe to their palate it does because it is 101 proof. But it's really a cinnamon spice right on the middle of the tongue, and it's just really good. You get your caramel, your vanilla, your oak, and then you've got that little cinnamon kick there on the middle of the tongue.
And it kind of lingers, which I think a lot of people like, you know, the finish or whatever they say.
I do.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And I do too if it's not too much.
And again, I like it. So thumbs up on the flavors.
Yeah.
It's good. I told you I got all the classic notes and I got that cinnamon. None of that stuff really matters. I like it. Thumbs up. So on the experience, which to me is how's the mouth feel? How's the finish? Does it last for a while? I hate when I take a sip of whiskey and it just dies off, whereas some people really love that. For me, the experience of this is a thumbs up. It is thumbs up across the board. I really like Wild Turkey 101, especially for the price, which we'll get into in a minute.
So yeah, I'd say for me, the flavor, it's between thumbs up and just okay, but I'm going to give it a thumbs up because I like it. So if I like it, it's a thumbs up. And the experience on the palate is a thumbs up as well because I like it.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite. I've had worse, I've had better, but I like it. I would give it a thumbs up.
Yeah. So then we know what we're drinking. Typically in our blind head-to-heads, we have to do a reveal to find out what we've been drinking. But we know we're drinking Wild Turkey 101. This is about, in our market, at the stores I usually shop at, about $27 a bottle.
Okay.
Which is very standard for good bourbon prices.
Okay. What's the availability?
Availability for Wild Turkey 101 is there's bottles on the shelf as long as the day.
Stacks on stacks on
You just cannot go wrong with going into any store and grabbing a bottle of Wild Turkey 101. So this is where, with the retail score, price and availability, is it worth the money and is it available or not? So we want to reward products that are available. I don't enjoy bourbon hunting. Erin doesn't enjoy bourbon hunting. If you enjoy bourbon hunting, then you probably want to disregard this score. For us, we enjoy stuff that we can go into the store and grab at any point in time. Yeah. Wild Turkey is one of those products, so it already is a step ahead on the retail score because of its availability. And then the price, $27 for a 750 milliliter bottle, that's a great price. Like, you can get cheaper bourbon than that, but it's probably going to be lower quality. So that's not a hard and fast rule, but there's a lot of lower quality stuff out there that you can get for $10 or $15. But $27 is more than a fair price to pay. So in my book, retail score, because the price is so good and the availability is so available, it gets 2 thumbs up for me.
Yeah, I love it. I love that retail portion of it. Like, so I give it 2 thumbs up too.
Yeah. And then would we buy it again or not? The consumer score. That's, as consumers, are we purchasing this again or not? When the bottle runs out, are you buying another one of these?
I would buy another one to replace one we have, but if it was hard to find, I would not. So if it was like discontinued, I wouldn't. So I'm just going to give it 1 thumbs up. I'm not going to give it 2 because it wouldn't be something I would go out of my way for, but it gets a solid thumbs up because I would replace it. Same here.
If we ran out of our bottle of Wild Turkey 101, we're going to buy another one the next time at the store. That's just the way it is. I like to keep a bottle around. If Wild Turkey decided to axe this product and say they were no longer making it, which I can't imagine why they would, but crazy things happen sometimes, I'm not going to go out and buy a case of it to stick in the back. Like, there's other good whiskey out there for around $30 that I could buy. So if it's something that I really would want and would potentially go out and buy multiple bottles of if it were being discontinued, then I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up on whether I'd buy it again or not. This is not that product. Yeah. This is a thumbs up product for me. So we both gave it thumbs up on the nose, thumbs up on the flavor, thumbs up on the experience. We both gave it 3 out of 6 for our tasting score. And then we both gave it 2 thumbs up on retail score and 1 thumbs up on consumer score. So that would bring the total score for Wild Turkey 101 to a 6 out of 10. There just so happens to be 2 thumbs on each of us. and there happens to be 5 categories. So that equals 10 total points.
Because 2 times 5 is 10.
It's 10, yeah. I'm not great at math, but I do know that one. I do remember that one. So that's our 10-point system there, but it at least gives you some context as to why things are getting scored the way they are.
Yeah.
If you want to completely disregard all the consumer metrics that we throw into the equation, I mean, I think it's an interesting discussion for every product that we review. If it's of no interest to you, then you can just write that off and stick with our reactions to the tasting scores, because that is in and of itself seeing our reactions to what we're drinking without knowing what it is on our blind head-to-heads, or double blind head-to-heads. That we think is very interesting. It's our favorite way to enjoy whiskey. We love not knowing what we're drinking and then commenting on it and then finding out that it's like something that's totally surprising to us. And we've ranked things that we thought were so-so. We ranked them really high, and we've had things that we thought would rank really, really high that have ranked pretty middle of the road. So very, very interesting. But the system that we have, the scoring system we have, is really just for fun. So don't take it too seriously.
And we call it our real world score because of the last 2 pieces, the consumer score and the retail score, because for us, that is the world we live in. That is our real world. We have to factor in the price, the availability, and if we would buy it again or not. We have a limited amount of space for our bourbon. So if we're not going to buy it, or if it's not worth the price or the space, then we're not going to buy it again. So we call it real world score because that's how we live. You know, we have to live in the real world. We can't have it all the time.
As do most people. As do most people. There's a niche of the whiskey community that loves to go out hunting for rare bottles, hard to find bottles, allocated bottles. But by and large, most people just want to walk into the store, see something that they know they can buy and trust that it's going to be good. While we do have some of those hard to find bottles, and I do enjoy those types of products, by and large, most people that are watching this channel are going to be the people that just want to walk into a store, grab something off the shelf, and know, hey, I really like the things that Erin tends to like. If she says she likes something, I can put a little bit of faith in knowing that Erin said she liked this product. I'm going to grab it because I'll probably like it too.
It's at least worth a try, and then you can decide for yourself if you like it or not.
And same for me. If you hear me say something that I enjoy and rank really highly, and you see it sitting on the shelf in your local market, you might want to grab a bottle. But that's what we do. You know, we just have fun with this channel, and at the end of the day, like we said, that's what whiskey is for. Hanging out with people you care about. I care about her a little bit. I mean, enough to at least marry her.
A smidge.
Yeah. And then having a good time. So that's what we're here for. And I don't think you should take whiskey too seriously.
That's what we're here for, and that's what you should be here for.
Yeah. If you're taking whiskey super seriously, you might be doing it wrong. I mean,
probably.
That's my opinion.
But that's just us.
Yeah.
So take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
So what you got for other stuff today, Boo?
Other stuff this week is this experience, this scoring rubric that we do, the way that we do it. You know, if you're new into whiskey, taking the journey through different bottles and different flavor profiles is really fun because you get to find out what you enjoy. You can do it a bunch of different ways. You can say, I want to buy 1 bottle a month of something new just to try. Set yourself a budget if you want. Or you can just go ham and buy a whole bunch of stuff.
Don't do that.
Which is more my style.
Don't do that.
She's more like the buy the 1 bottle. I'm more like the buy all the bottles.
No, buy the bottles if you have the budget.
There you go. So
buy all the bottles if you have the budget. But if you don't.
Yeah. So other stuff for this week is going to be, if you've watched any of our blind head-to-heads, which we'll put a link to that playlist in here. If not, just check the channel. We have a playlist on it. But these sample bottles, these are 2-ounce Boston Rounds. You can buy a box of a dozen on Amazon for like $14 delivered to your front door. You can get we have 100 plus of these things sitting around the house. We have a lot of these because we put comparable pours in these things and then enter them into our blind sample pool that we then draw at random for our blind head-to-head tasting so that we don't know. If you have someone that can pour for you, you don't need any of this stuff. If you enjoy your whiskey on ice and you have a few bottles sitting around the house, take a glass, throw a piece of ice in there, and then have a roommate, a significant other, whatever, a friend, pick out one of your bottles and pour it in there and just taste it completely blind. If you don't have someone that can do that, or you want to kind of control it yourself and all that stuff, then what I would recommend is checking out these 2-ounce Boston Rounds. The link's in the description below, as is the link for these Glencairn tasting glasses that we use, because we tend to prefer our whiskey neat these days. These give you a really good tasting experience. You can really smell better than you can in a rocks glass. It kind of, I mean, you can just tell by the shape of it,
Funnels,
like it's funneling the vapors up into your nose. As we've said in previous episodes, vapor science. It's a real thing. So we've got the glasses down there in the description. We've got these sample jars in the description. If you've got a dozen bottles of whiskey or half a dozen bottles of whiskey, go to the link in the description below, buy you some of these. They come with little funnels. Pour in your stuff. We label them on the bottom with stickers that we write either letters or numbers on, and then those match up to a key that we make, and then we mix them all up, and then we can draw.
We keep the pairs together, and then we mix up the pairs.
Right, if you're doing pairs. But if you just want to not know what you're drinking, you can just pour all that you own into a dozen of these bottles.
Yep.
Mix them all up so that you don't know what you're drinking, and then just randomly select one, pour it in a glass, drink it, sip it, enjoy it. And then once you're done with it and you've kind of evaluated it, whether you really like it or not, check what you've labeled it as and check it against your key so that you find out what it is. And you'll be really surprised at when you taste stuff totally blind, whether it's really as good as you thought it was, or maybe there's some things that you just thought were okay, but when you take away the bottle and you take away the packaging and the branding and the marketing and all that stuff, you might find that you really like some stuff that you didn't think you would like.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what happened with us with Wild Turkey products.
Well, with you specifically.
Right. We never bought Wild Turkey products. And then I bought a bunch of sample jars, put a bunch of bottles in those sample jars, mixed them all up, and started tasting stuff. And I found out that stuff that I rated really highly, that I really, really liked, it was Wild Turkey products.
Wild Turkey products. Not just 101 as other Wild Turkey products, but
pretty much
the
everything
family,
they make.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
which you would have never, ever said beforehand.
Absolutely not. No, I would have passed it by because I didn't give Wild Turkey the time of day before finding out that I really liked it blind. I only bought the bottle to compare it against other bottles that I thought I liked better. And then it turns out I really like Wild Turkey. And it turns out you really like Wild Turkey as well.
Apparently.
So now we went from not buying much Wild Turkey to buying a lot of Wild Turkey, all because of these little guys and somewhat because of these guys as well, because we like to drink it neat. So that's our other stuff for this week. In the video description, you'll also find a link to our Patreon. If you don't want to deal with all this, we'll do it for you. We'll send you a blind tasting kit. There's Patreon tiers that we have that we will package all this stuff up for you. You'll get instructions, you'll get printouts, you'll get all kinds of cool stuff. It's packaged up really nicely, and it's a really nice experience to be able to open it up, have 8 different sample jars to be able to try different things, and you get to find out what you really enjoy that way. If you don't want to go and do the blind tasting with us packaging it up, just go order you some sample jars and pour your own stuff in there.
Yeah, really easy.
Super, super simple. Just a little bit of work goes a long way in helping you find out how to better spend your money in the long term. And to us, that's worth something.
Exactly.
So, Erin, take us out of here.
Well, thank you for watching our video today. We hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that it gave you some clarity on how we do our scoring system. We think it's simple. We think it's pretty straightforward, so I hope you do too. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Hit that thumbs up button. Give it a thumbs up. You can't give it 2 thumbs up, so if you just like it.
You can thumbs up it and then click it again so that it takes a thumbs up away, and then click it again to give it another thumbs up. It's so nice you gotta like it twice.
You could. Ooh, that kind of rhymed. It
did rhyme.
I lost my train of thought. So like the video, comment below if you think Josh is crazy, because he is, but I love it. I'm here for it. And yeah, we hope you enjoyed this.
Till next week, guys. Cheers.
You kind of like got me. I totally like lost my train of thought. There's no coming back from that.
Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin.
And today we're talking about our objectively excellent subjective scoring rubric and how we evaluate and score pours. Cut.